Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Ko-Fi, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Click OK, Wandek, and a whole bunch of people in the Politics 24/7 Flat Earth Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Greetings.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, it's good to be here. Anybody who's relatively regular in this particular Discord server will know that we're here typically on a Friday. I'll normally do a little preamble before we go live, but please don't swear, as you probably heard in the introduction. If you do, you'll get removed by one of the moderators, as it is a bit of a family show, or we'd like it to be at the very least. So our endeavours here in the Politics server are to let our Flat Earth counterparts know that in order to live on a ball, as many of the Western world believe they do, you would need to first measure Earth flat. That's why we're here.
So, Nathan, I had a question. You didn't start your show yet, so I think that's what you were doing. But you said that you're doing a meet and greet, whatever it is, at Dorset, at the Bridge House Hotel or whatever. Are Globers welcome? Because I think there might be some Globers in the UK that might want to say hi or ask some questions.
It's a pub.
They're welcome?
Yeah, I did say in the intro, for 5 of your English pounds. That's the only stipulation.
Okay.
No,
it'd be funny
welcome.
if you have
same
Mez
as here. Sorry.
I was going to say, it'd be funny if you had Mez show up and ask you some questions, you know. Some Glober on Flat Earth interaction in real life.
Well, they're welcome to. Like they're welcome to here. Like you're welcome to. I mean, it won't be any different to this. How would it be any different?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be more entertaining. I'd be, hopefully some Globers do show up. I don't live in the UK, but hopefully some Globers do show up.
Yeah. See, there's a big difference in public. See, if there's a guy on stage giving you a presentation and he invites questions, and then someone from the audience won't shut their mouth, do you know what the people who run the hotel and bar do? They remove them. Because that's not civilized. Like talking straight through the middle of somebody that's in the middle of saying something, it's just not civilized. People won't tend to do that in public.
Huh. If they do, will you mute them in real life? You have like big bodyguards kick them off?
No, I'm 6'2" and I can be quite imposing. But typically, unlike with gates and miles of fibre optic cable, when you're actually in somebody's presence and they're literally towering over you while you heckle them, there's a very different feeling about that when you're actually that person with 80 people staring at you as you get heckled by the guy on stage. Now, as that happens, the guy who's doing the heckling might feel the need to just blurt through straight like they would on the internet. But as I say, that's not civilized and won't be tolerated in normal public society, unlike on the internet where you can just do it and nobody will stop you, because what are they going to do? Beyond, running your show and closing lines where people are disturbing your show. I mean, that could be held against me, it seems, but in public, it's just not civilized to just talk straight through somebody that's talking.
What if one of the Globers brings a pair of boxing gloves for you and they challenge you to a boxing match?
And I said no. Do you think that would be then the guy standing in the middle of 80 people clutching a pair of boxing gloves, just looking like a complete wanker clutching boxing gloves? Would that be that guy? and everyone going, why is that guy over there clutching boxing gloves? Oh,
Whoever wins the fight determines the shape of the earth.
The guy holding the boxing gloves is just about to get tackled by security.
Yeah. Again, would you say that's
geodesic verification by combat?
Again, just not reasonable behaviour? You know, you go to somebody who's doing a talk on anything, and you walk up to them and hand them a pair of boxing gloves. That's essentially inciting violence, isn't it? Like, that would be criminal, as in you could be arrested for it here in the UK. Did you not know that?
Maybe they're handing
Not
you
maybe.
boxing gloves
I was
to
talking
punch
to someone
someone
else.
else.
Was it you I was talking to? Was that
No, you weren't talking to him.
Yeah. So
no, but yeah, it would be inciting violence. I'm just saying that'd be a pretty funny hypothetical situation.
So what you're saying to me, Matt, is you think it would be funny to encourage my audience to incite violence, is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying it'd be funny, like if a Glober. I'm just saying it'd be funny if a Glober.
Yeah, what I'm still
showed up with,
saying
like,
is, yeah. I just needed the no. That's good. So you're not suggesting people endeavour to criminalise themselves at my public event?
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
Hopefully,
I don't know why you'd suggest it then.
Then.
It seemed that way. You still think that you're going to yammer through me kind of telling you off for doing exactly that, even though you're feigned, no, I wasn't doing exactly what I suggested people should do. No, you were doing that. That just makes you, what's the word? A prick. And here you'd be, in the UK, arrested for that. I wanted to make that explicitly clear that what you're inciting is criminal under the UK law. And I just wanted you to be absolutely aware that what you had suggested was criminal here. Because you thought it would be funny. It's not. You're inciting criminal behaviour. And I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah, again, there's a difference between a descriptive and prescriptive, right? I said it'd be funny if some Globers brought boxing gloves and challenged you to a boxing match. That's all, man.
At a public discussion, yes, and I said that would be criminal, as it would be inciting violence.
You're right.
And now you're yammering through me as I reiterate it for a third time, as you justify it for the second. Yeah, I heard your justification the first and second time. And then I led you to just say, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not really that. It's not, yeah. And then I absolutely laboured the point for a third time and now a fourth time. That would be criminal. But that's what you guys are like. You globe believers. You're a globe believer, aren't you, Matt?
No, I believe in the flat Earth.
I doubt that.
Prove it.
So you're also a liar.
And I'm not lying.
So when you've got the title PhD in Globe, you've just told me you're a flat earther and then laughed. That's a lie, isn't it? You're not a flat earther, are you?
The PhD in globe proving is just a joke. So I say that to Globers, but I'm a flat earther.
So you're just continuing to lie. I don't want to talk to this man anymore. Can one of the server moderators remove the man who's incited criminality and is a absolute, without a doubt, demonstrated liar?
Mooney, you're a mum and you couldn't lie straight in bed. Stay muted.
Yeah, these people are scum. I just wanted the audience to be aware of what's just happened. That's a globe believer. And in this country, he'd be thrown in jail for being criminal because that's what he's just incited. He's just literally incited an audience, my audience, to go and behave criminally at my event. That's what he's done. Yeah, that's what globe believers do. That's what you are. Scum. Yeah, you globe believers are scum. There's no other word for it. Here, you'd be criminalised for what you do. There's no other words to describe what you are. Criminal scum.
It is, to be fair, it is possible that he just believes it's a flat plane.
Well, it's measured that way.
He actually is a flat earther, John.
But yeah, you can believe it's a flat Earth. I guess that's fine. If you don't want to know why it is.
Any evidence for flat Earth?
Measured that way.
Any at all?
It's measured.
That's not evidence.
Sorry,
measurements aren't evidence.
Goodbye, Brenda.
That was someone who...
Brenda
sorry, just for the audience's benefit, that person that just asked that question had suggested that I should have my kids removed from me. That's again, just another example of a scumbag backing up another scumbag who's incited criminality. Well, she would suggest that social services should have my children removed. That's what she would do. That's why she's immediately being removed from this discussion. That's how you globe believers behave when we tell you Earth is measured flat. Because it is. Now, is that a belief? No. Is that some religion we're punting on you? No, it's how it's measured for you and us. But because we say it and then don't immediately assume that those flat Earth measurements turn into a globe, we're ridiculed and criminalised and told that we should have our children removed from us.
If I measure the temperature outside, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, is there any globers here that want to have an actual decent discussion? Because your track record tonight is absolutely horrendous at this point, yeah?
Hey, Nathan, I've just heard you said you had children. Is that correct?
What does that have to do with my last question?
No, I was just that's just a curiosity question. Like, I was just wondering, like, does he have? Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify.
TDA, pull it up. It has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Sorry, mate.
My question was, TDA, do we have any globes in here that want to have a decent conversation in relation to the shape of the Earth, not about somebody's children?
It's the dumb guy from the pre-show, isn't it? I say that person was removed for involving my kids in the discussion. I say you got children, have you? What a retard.
You can't be talking, buddy.
But there's the new White Knight. No, that was stupid. Literally, we've just highlighted to a live audience and him that someone was removed for involving my kids in this discussion. His response to that is to bring up my kids, literally in the next breath. That is retarded. Fucker. And now you're going to yammer through that, what? No, it's just you. No, I've given an example of why that would be retarded, held back mentally to do that.
I mean, this is just pathetic.
All I want to, I mean, I'm sorry, I apologize. Right? All I wanted to know.
Don't continue that sentence, please.
Well, I'm just confused about where Brenda was trying to take that measurements are not evidence. But I don't even know what to say to that.
I think what she means, John, is the measurements that are used are obviously elevation angle measurements, angle measurements. It's all referring to flat Earth measurements. So in her mind, that can't be true because she has a globe belief.
Well, I mean, if I measured the temperature outside and it was 78 degrees, right? Is that evidence that temperature exists?
It's just a malformed question, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we've had this before. I think it was in politics, this server, where you either accept that you were going to measure Earth flat, because if you don't, you've got nothing to base your globe belief on, because that's how the globe comes to fruition. Where do you think your globe belief comes from, globe believers? Do you want to give us some measurements? They're flat. Now, the quicker you learn this, the quicker you can deal with your pain.
They don't think about why there's been so many straw men and other things interjected into this conversation for them to latch on to. They just latch on to those things.
Yeah, the dumb ones do. Why have you got an explanation for the ice wall? Well, we expanded the territory flat and navigated it flat on flat maps with flat systems that were derived from flat angle measurements to the stars with respect to a flat plane. But yeah, but what about the ice wall? Dum-dum. Earth was measured and navigated and expanded flat. What do I need to explain an ice wall for? Because somebody on YouTube in this narrative of flat Earth told you that that's what we believe? Because Google said so. All right, well, that's fascinating.
Well, what is the circumference of the North Pole?
One more time.
What is the circumference of the North Pole?
Circumference of the North Pole?
What?
This it's a two-question thing, but it should prove flat Earth.
Yeah, informed. It's malformed. A point does not have a circumferential value. Questions malformed.
The Arctic Circle, it's got to have some type of circumference around. How much miles around?
What? Okay. What if we had the value? Let's say I'd looked it up and gave you what the narrative says is the value. What would be your point?
Hypothetically, it should be the same as the southern Arctic circle, right?
Why?
Down in Antarctica.
Why?
Because if you flatten out it to a flat globe, or I mean a flat plane, the Antarctica should be very, very large compared to what if it was on a globe.
I'm a bit confused.
So I think that'd be a way to measure.
Just 1 second, John. You started off by saying if you flatten it out.
The globe.
Okay. The globe.
Antarctica would expand.
I got you. I'm now
very
responding to you. Maybe if you just keep repeating it 16 times, it'll continue to be a point that's an unaddressed point.
Well, hopefully I don't.
You hopefully could shut up. No, what you're doing is you're suggesting that the globe needs to be squashed flat. And I was about to point out what I'd pointed out several times previously, was that the globe you think you're standing on was created using flat Earth measurements. So what are you talking about? No, you first measure Earth flat, then you can project those points that you measured flat onto a globe, and then you can project those onto a cylinder, cut that down the middle and roll that out flat. That's global projection, but you start with flat Earth measurements. You started by thinking, well, if I've got my automatic globe, where do you think that came from? It came from measurements of a flat plane to give you that globe. So there's no squashing a globe involved in projecting out maps flat. But they must be flat, otherwise they wouldn't work with circles of equal elevation that you're measuring with the stars. That's why they're all flat, because the world's flat. That's how we deal with it. That's how we measured it originally, before we got to your globe bit that you thought we had to squash. That's where you thought it started. It doesn't start with a globe, it starts with flat Earth angle measurements to the stars. Okay, so let's get that out of the way first. There's no squashing.
Okay, I understand completely. I do understand what you're saying. I think it's a very valid point. I'd also like to say, what do you think? How much miles long is the Antarctic Circle?
Why?
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
No, because if it was on a globe and it was at the bottom of a globe, it would be a lot shorter distance than if it was the width of the whole.
You've done it again.
Flat Earth.
Stop. You've done it again. If it was on a globe, then it would come from originating flat Earth angle measurements to the stars to be able to project things like the latitude system onto the globe. So regardless of you suggesting that what would happen on a globe, whatever happens on a globe has its genesis in flat Earth measurements. So it's irrelevant. It's just a way of stacking it up as a straw man and false dichotomy if you're going to stack it up in that manner. And when we say it's irrelevant, it is, because what the distances do on a globe, okay, well, let's say you say they work out perfectly on a globe. Well done, flat Earth measurements, for giving us that globe then. So what? It's non sequitur. Just give me 1 second before you respond. Shaquille O'Neal, I'm 7'2" tall. Brenda, do you have any evidence of your height? Shaq, measurements, height. Brenda, that's not evidence. Thank you for the super chat, Misfit. Alrighty then. In the same respect as us saying, well, if you're going to take a win for the globe in some claim to be straw man position that would only work on one or other model.
I wouldn't say it's a straw man. I would say that it's the only thing we can do to measure, really, is if it's a globe, it would be a lot shorter distance, and then if it was flat Earth, it would be the longest form of
distance is linear.
Border.
Distance is linear.
Right, and you're not measuring.
It's around.
You're calculating something that contradicts your initial
someone else
measurement.
here might be able to understand what I'm saying.
He's not listening. He's just waiting for his turn to repeat his exact same claim. Yeah, we heard the claim 3 times. He responded to it, but he hasn't comprehended the response. It does not compute. He hasn't comprehended it. He hasn't absorbed it. Therefore, is not responding to it. He doesn't get it.
Right. Let me try again.
I don't understand
a simpler way.
Okay.
You are calculating.
John, just hold on. I've got to be able to lead you. Hold on. Right. Okay, sir. So you don't understand the response. I'm glad you said it, although it was masked slightly by John. That's fine. Yeah, you don't get what we're suggesting when we derive a globe from flat Earth measurements and therefore invalidate your line of questioning entirely. Go ahead, John.
You want me to tell him why it's invalid?
Yes, please. I just wanted to see if you had a response to what I said, summarising it, but go ahead.
Right? You don't calculate things that contradict measurement and then hold up the calculation and keep the measurement. It doesn't make sense to do that.
I understand that, yeah. So it would have to be millions and millions. That's what the flat earthers are claiming, the Antarctica.
Dude, you're not going to rinse and repeat the same thing again. Let me correct your statement. If the Earth was a globe, we would be able to directly measure drop over distance. That would be a more accurate statement.
Drop from what?
From a flat plane.
We're going to measure the drop from. You know, it doesn't. They can't even enter into that discussion.
Drop from a flat plane, from a horizontal plane of reference to describe the drop from. You'll have to have that in the first instance. You'll have to have a flat Earth, as per the Earth curve maths. It also uses a flat Earth flame curve.
Good point.
Called surface level, by the way.
So your point is you're terrible at math.
Sorry, that was an ad hominem. If anybody wanted to know what an ad hominem is, that's an ad hominem.
Well,
that's not what an ad hominem is.
The time would take a lot longer.
Okay, everyone stop. Everyone stop. Everyone stop. Everyone stop. Everyone stop.
No, that's an ad hominem.
Hello, can you stop? Oh, the response to the argument was that the claim of curve requires a horizontal plane of reference in Earth curve maths to describe the curve from. Response: you're crap at maths. Now, an ad hominem is a response that does not address the argument, but addresses the man. At the man. Ad hominem. So did he address that curve would have to be described from the horizontal plane of reference? No. Did he just say I was bad at maths, not addressing of the argument and addressing something at me? Yes, he did. That's an ad hominem fallacy. Okay, hope we're all clear. This education lesson was brought to you by Flat Earth Debate.
Yeah, they both ran away when they got muted for talking over each other.
Oh,
and
they
you
couldn't but help yammer through them being humiliated. How sad.
And we got one back.
I mean, it's not hidden. I don't know why they're acting like I'm stupid for saying it. It's actually written down. When they say tangent, it has a name in the Earth curve mass. It's called surface level.
Yep.
You're just rubbish at maths. That's not an ad hominem.
We're talking hypotheticals.
That key suffix second word is level. Surface level. Not surface curve. Not surface bend. Bent. Convex.
If I were to just take a boat, it would take years to get around. Compared if it was a globe, it would take a tenth of the time.
And we're back to false dichotomies, aren't we?
No one else is bringing any debate up.
That's a false.
Does it take 7 days to go around a building?
Or is a false dichotomy better than nothing?
Well, let's talk about the whole Earth, not a building. It would take years to go around the circumference of Antarctica on a flat Earth, but on a globe, it would take a tenth of the time.
I literally
and that's
just
how we would
addressed
determine.
this 20 seconds ago and he ignored me. So let's see if
you're
he chants
talking
through me.
about
Oh, he's going to definitely chant through me repeating. Definitely better to chant through me repeating what's demolished his fallacy. That would be a false dichotomy fallacy. And the one side of the false dichotomy, that would be the globe, has its genesis in flat Earth measurements. So it's
Getting
just
around the globe takes about 175 to 200 days, depending on whether it's
a white knight. White knight couldn't stand his man getting his bum smacked. Chants instead of his man chanting. Shouldn't his man be chanting? He isn't. I'll do it for him. Thanks, White Knight. Speedmaster, was it a bit painful?
What are you on about? The question was asked how long it would take to circumnavigate with a boat around the Earth. I gave the response. I don't see where your issue is here.
You're incorrect.
It's 175 to 200 days, depending on the weather.
You're incorrect. So stop interrupting.
Who cares? What does this prove?
It's not incorrect. It's been done a lot of times.
So what? What does it prove?
Hang on.
But it takes 175 days
Everyone else
to
except
get
the
around the planet.
speedster guy, shut up. Just want to hear the speedster guy. What does it prove, speedster guy?
I'm not saying if it proves anything. I'm just saying it takes 175 to circumnavigate the flat or the round Earth, whatever you might want to call it or think it is.
Well, that's a false dichotomy.
How is it a false dichotomy if it's already
Whether
happened
it's a
multiple
flat
times?
or a globe, are you slow? Are you like the last guy?
No, I'm saying it takes 175 days to 200
I don't
days
need
to get
it a
around the
fourth
globe.
time. Can you shut
Or
him
the
up
flat
now?
Earth, whatever
Can
you
you
want
shut
to
him
do
up
it.
now? Because now he's just
How
incessantly
ill are you
repeating the
here?
claim.
Jesus Christ.
I heard the claim. Now I just need to shut up. That's still a false dichotomy. You said it's this measurement.
How is it a false dichotomy? It happens.
I'm telling you, but you won't shut your friggin' mouth.
Are you fucking?
Maybe are you definitely going to eat your mic while I'm talking to you? I'm responding to you. You've had to be server muted because I've tried to respond to you 3 friggin' times. Whether it's on a globe or a flat Earth, with the distance being claimed, is an introduction of a false dichotomy. 4th time. You don't have to get triggered and yammer through me telling it you. I doubt you heard it. He's had to be server muted, which means he's probably still talking.
Not only is it a false dichotomy, invalidating the measurements over a plane does not give you a sphere. Doesn't work that way.
100 people watching live. Woohoo! Please share the show if you've not done so already. A very warm welcome to all of you in the YouTube live stream. Good to have you. Thank you for sharing. I know some of you must have done, as there's 100 people watching. Thank you for hitting the share button. 2 clicks if you haven't done it already. Please share the show.
You know, part of the reason that people fight so hard against this is that they already know it's measured flat. They know level's flat. They know that all the they'll come in and tell you it's a localized plane. It just looks flat. They know it. They have to know it to build their belief of a globe upon it. They just really don't like it when we point it out.
I was going to say something similar, John. I think that's why they're steering away from the measurements. Obviously, we can see that's happening. I think the penny's starting to drop that. They're realizing when they actually start to describe or try to describe how globe Earth is measured, they're actually explaining how a flat Earth's measured. And it must be painful, so they need to talk about the sky and ice walls and false dichotomies.
Yeah. So long as you can beg the question of sphericity, ignoring all contradictions in the measurements of the Earth itself, then you can stack it up in false dichotomy and say, oh, well, you know, this distance that we traverse is definitely the same on both globe Earth and flat Earth. No, there's only a flat Earth. The globe Earth comes from the flat Earth. They don't need to talk about what it would do on a globe. Number 2, you wouldn't get any linear distances, angular measurements. None of that would come from a globe. It's just a model designed to give you better predictive capabilities of where the stars will appear in the night sky. Doesn't mean we're standing on that globe.
Explain.
There's a chanting zealot straight through the end of an explanation of where the globe came from. Oh, sorry, my bad. My middle of sentence interrupted the start of yours. You go ahead, son.
I'm sorry, you're right. But can if we take a look at the photo I put in the chat, can somebody verify that this is how the circumferences are way different? They should be the same.
Sorry, is it we must do this false dichotomy?
It's not a false dichotomy. You're saying this is what the flat globe looks like. I mean, the flat Earth looks like.
No, I didn't say anything of the sort. Nobody said anything like that. So you're going to lie about what we've said. Who said it? Put it in quotes now.
Well, the whole flat Earth community.
So nobody here said it then. So it's definitely a stereotyping fallacy. The whole bleeding flat Earth said it. Now he's talking through me as I point out how bleeding wrong it is to use a stereotyping fallacy and a lie suggesting that someone here said it. Gotta lie to Glurf. To be a globe believer, you must lie, like he just did. Nobody here said that. So we've got to study something that you're going to hold up in false dichotomy, and when your deceit's pointed out to you, like the deceitful Glurf you are, you're going to talk through me, pointing out how deceitful you are. So we must do this false dichotomy. Why? Well, because that's what you say. Who said it? Quote it now. The whole of flat Earth said it. So not only is it a lie, it's been turned into a stereotyping fallacy. You're a Glurf scumbag liar. Got to lie to Glurf.
You'll be able to see that the circumference of Antarctica is a lot larger.
So no, he's going to ramble on with his claim anyway. I'm going to do this false dichotomy regardless of being called a glurf scumbag liar who's just lied about something we haven't said. I'll carry on with my example anyway. Your justification being I said, we said something that hasn't come in quotes, but you'll ramble on about it anyway. I've just called you a scum. Do you think I want to carry on talking to you? You're a proven liar. Nobody here said that, but in your mind, I'll carry on with my example. No, you're a demonstrable scumbag. I definitely don't want to talk to you anymore. If you're stupid enough to think that you still need to be carrying on with your example, I'll just plough on after being demonstrably proven to be an absolute liar. And that means I'll carry on with my example, I think. Are you really that stupid? No, after you've been demonstrably proven to be a liar after saying we've said something, and then definitely not put it on in quotes, but stereotyping an entire frigging community, that's, in your mind, a cue to carry on with the frigging example. No, it's your cue to get lost and climb under a rock. Shout out to Roger Ledwell. How do you get circumference on a ball? You don't. You measure Earth flat and derive the circumferential value from the minimum elevation angle to Polaris. You must. It's your outside edge of a sphere. It's an equator value. That's what it is. So you don't get circumference on a ball.
You can also derive the curvature value from a differential calculation between eye level and surface level, and as you change in altitude, which is with respect to a flat plane.
Is anybody going to debate us that's not scummy, that's not a liar, that doesn't want to have my kids off me, that doesn't want to incite violence at a public, what would I call it, meet and greet? Anybody that's not a complete scum of the earth degenerate globe believer? No? Just scumbags, liars, deceivers, nothing else, right? Just people who want to incite criminality and have other people's children. It's just you guys, right? Just the scumbags that represent the globe, is it?
Tell me you earn less than minimum wage without telling me you earn less than minimum wage. Kind of funny, though.
Or was that something about minimum wage? I didn't quite hear what you said, I'm sorry.
It was nothing to do with measurements anyway.
Oh, right.
It's just getting worse by the minute.
Excuse me. Hey, what's up, fellas? Not to get off the subject. It's on the subject, but I just want to say something. I think one of the reasons why the stereotype fallacy comes around because they don't understand, or they haven't been listening, that they can't stereotype us upon other anti-globers who are not really flat earthers, who bring up things like the Great Wall of Ice and all of these different things of speculative, conversation that they try to use as tools for proof. We don't play that game. We play about the measurements, the navigation, celestial navigation, the observation, the common sense things too as well. But I think what it is that being that we always say they, globers, they try to equate our stereotype, which is rightfully, because if you think about it, the content which globers speak of are usually universally consistent. They all have the same belief. No one ever criticizes the other one. They pretty much ride on the back of each other and support each other's argument of nonsensical fallacies. On the other hand, we have a history of constructively critiquing our own anti-globers who call themselves flat earthers. And we check them and let them know, no, this is not how it is. This is how it is. So you can't stereotype FED. You can't say, here, could you explain to us and say if this is your flat earth model? You can't do that because we don't ride on that bandwagon. And I'll end on that.
No, we just show you how your globe was measured flat in the first instance. Oh, there's a nice little pause. I'll do a call to action as there's 111 people watching. Thank you very much, all of you who shared the show, and a very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. If you have just joined us, please share the show. It's just a couple of clicks, and it's out on your favourite social media platform, Bebo, MySpace, whatever it may be.
If I introduced a model to you, right, or the idea that I had a model of my kitchen, we'll say my kitchen, and I said that model was spherical, and I give you angle measurements off the floor, would you stop me?
I think what I'd do is I'd take the bit where you turned it into a globe, accept that that's what your kitchen was and believe that I was standing on it, and then ignore all the origin measurements that you used to claim the kitchen was a globe. I think that's what I'd prefer to do.
That's fair enough. That's what everybody does anyway.
That's what everyone does
doing it for hundreds of years. Just keep doing it. Why not?
That's what the Globers do.
Morning, guys.
Hey,
What's up,
Chocolate.
John?
Chocolate.
We're in politics. Just, I'm not sure. I don't think I need to tell you, but just behave yourself.
Don't I always?
I'm sure you do. We're just guests here. That's all. So you don't want to become complacent. That's all.
Good. Yep, it's all good. What's up, politics? What's up, 24/7? What's up, everybody?
We're all good. We love
Not
Nathan
much,
Oakley's show. Oh,
Good morning. Good morning. What up, Charlie?
Not getting much evidence of apparent Earth curvature. Chocolate. It's all ice wall and ad hominem attacks. Nothing to do with measurements.
Oh, man. Well, someone once told us that they'd rather a model than measurements anyway. So seems like as though that side is apparently running away from measurements because they know better.
No, that's
Brenda told me that measurements aren't evidence.
Well, they're caught between a rock and a hard place in that regard. If they decry the measurements, then they've got no globe to believe in, because the measurements that created the globe are flat. So you can decry them all you like.
So that between a rock and a flat place?
Exactly.
No pun intended.
No, that was pun very intended.
So what were you saying, Speed Sky? I heard minimum wage something or other.
If he doesn't go, I want to bring something up.
Oh, maybe he had a point. I don't know. Maybe it was just an ad hom.
We're minimum wage losers. Cool. Anyway, I told QE about a year or two ago that he needed to do a show on measurements and their significance, because I think people have forgotten, and that's really what it is, that people have lost respect for reference.
That's what I was going to say. Why is it that when they're hit with the measurements, wall comes up instead of something clicking in their brain that makes them understand that everything is from a flat plane? Everything they talk about, when they talk about heights of things, elevation, something's got to click.
No, Luke. I am your father. No! No! Say it ain't so! Yeah, the genesis of your globe is flat Earth measurements. They are the father of the globe. And you can deny it all you like.
I find it quite funny when they try to explain, or you give them time to try and explain how it's measured, and every other word is explaining an angle measurement or sea level, altitude, above sea level, horizontal, horizon, tangent lines, vertical, perpendicular. And you start thinking, you're not talking about curvature here, my friend. You're talking about how Earth is measured flat. Now, you can't use them words. Now, tell us how Earth curve is measured without referring to how flat it's measured. I find it quite amusing.
Well, you would have to.
Oh, John.
You would have to be able to measure the rate of change of slope. But the problem is, the moment you try to do that, you can't use rise over run anymore, because run is a horizontal plane. You cannot say Earth is a sphere. It's just not.
Oh, dear.
And just to allude to what One Deck was saying, every single word he said referred to straight lines. every single word he said. Leveled, vertical, horizontal. What's it gonna take?
Shout out to Duncan McLeod. Says Nathan, you just did a Star Wars Mandela effect. I did not do a Star Wars Mandela effect. The script is as follows. No, I am your father. Now, if I inserted Luke, just so everyone knew the context of what I was talking about on the spot, then I apologise. Not a Mandela effect. The script is just, no, I am your father. People might not have known what I was talking about on the spot if I hadn't said Luke.
Mandela, what's that?
It's some crazy offshoot. Let's not talk about that. Thank you for the super chat.
Like what I said though, could you imagine? Trying to think of another way to say it because I don't think anybody really got what I said. If hot didn't go to cold, and then we make the supposition, if hot doesn't go to cold, then blah diddy blah blah. You know, if this natural law wasn't true, then this would happen. You know what I mean? You're on the, when you're messing with axioms, you know what I mean? Like that's about what's happening in their minds, I think.
You're saying measurements are as strong as natural law?
Well, no, measurements are kind of, there's a finality to them that isn't like a description of entropy. The description is exactly that. You're describing something, but you're not describing something when you measure it, other than its length, its height, its angle. You know, that's what you're describing, the measurement. But the measurement isn't a description. You know, saying it's 20 centimeters doesn't tell you how it's a table. Yeah?
You can describe the dimensions of an object, but measurement is not a description. The action to quantify.
Yeah, you can extrapolate out after the measurements if you want to. But the measurement kind of is what it is. That's why when we say Earth's measured flat, that's a factual statement in terms of what's being done with respect to Earth. When you take an angle with respect to Earth, it is measuring Earth flat. Now you can say, well, it doesn't mean it is flat. Well, you can say that, but that is what you're doing. You don't have to like it, but angle measurements are the basis of the globe. So you can deny it all you like. We do measure Earth flat.
Exactly. And it's an obtained measurement. Then it's described after it's measured. But it's not like, so what did the guy look like? I think he was about 5'10" or maybe 140 pounds, and you haven't even weighed the guy or put a measuring tape on him. It's not like we're done like throwing out random numbers. These are measurements. These are actual measurements.
Yeah, and the principle of these measurements is violated if the world is the reification of the globe that came from the measurements. So if you turn this measurement of a flat Earth angle, in this case to a star, into a globe with things like latitude wrapped around it, then at that point you can't then measure the surface that you've reified into sphericity, because it won't give you an angle anymore. So it suddenly bastardizes the original measurements that have created the globe in such a manner that they no longer function with a globe.
And you know what? You want to know what a pseudo-mathematical measurement is? Not even a measurement, but something pulled out the sphincter based on some math, just conceptual math. It's the 24,000 plus miles of the circumference of the Earth, which was basically just based on their fallacy, dichotomy of, oh, let me see, 24 hours in a day. We said it spins at 1,000 miles per hour. So that's 1,000 times 24 hours. 24,000 miles. That's how the circumference of the Earth. That's some random thing pulled out the butt. But nobody measured that.
How did they calculate their circumference, though? What in the equation that calculates circumference, what measurements are used on one side of the equation?
The equator itself is the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris. It's the point where you no longer have Polaris, therefore it's its maximum area of equal altitude or circle of equal elevation.
Right.
That's the equator.
On one side of the equation, you have a planar measurement. why do you have a sphere that contradicts the angle you just measured?
Well, in practical terms, it's to make better sense of epicycles. There you go. That's why.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's epicycles is fine in that diagram they call a model. It's from the equatorial plane.
Yeah.
It's still on the globe.
Yeah, but to have the physical land be in motion around the sphere in the mathematics, you have to mobilize the land itself in a sphere-shaped manner. Now, obviously, that can't be the territory that you're measuring with the angles that you're trying to represent in that model, but that is the model, and the elliptical orbits are better explaining the epicycles with, what do they call them now? What are the wandering stars called now? What's the motion in heliocentrism? It's got a new name. What do they call epicycles in heliocentrism? Anybody?
Are you talking about retrograde motion, or are
Retrograde.
you talking about?
There you go, you knew. Retrograde motion. There you go. That's why. That's why there'd be a flat Earth on one side of the equation and a globe Earth on the other. That's the answer.
But it's not a globe on the other side of the equation.
No, it's a globe in a model on the other side of the equation, better explaining the motions of the stars with a model.
Inside the globe, maybe.
Yeah, but it's still inside the globe, moving around the sun at the equatorial plane that's in physical motion in the mathematics.
Right, so you're not measuring from the surface of a curved Earth.
No, you're inside it if you're making it work with the equatorial plane and the extended, what do they call that? Celestial plane?
Yeah.
So you're in hell.
When I learned that from Tim.
If you're going to describe the angles, you must be in hell, yes.
Yeah. Well, see, I knew all this stuff. I knew how, orbital mechanics, Keplerian elements, I knew this stuff before I got into this subject. I knew that you took, apogee and perigee and use those calculations. And then Tim starts going over this. I think that's why I thought it so hard, I'd already been educated in it. He wasn't saying anything that really contradicted it, but I just couldn't accept it because it was being pointed out to me in a different way.
I'm going to read this person's comment. I don't normally read people's chats that aren't paying for them. Not because I'm tight, just there's too many messages. Check this out. From J.A.G1, Jag1. I've recently found Nathan Oakley, and I've been watching a fair amount of his shows. From what I understand, Nathan claims that the Earth cannot be a globe because it is measured flat. Thank you, Jag1. Thank you so much for leaving that message. That makes me very happy.
He should have continued and said, and the globe comes from flat measurements.
It's like
The globe is measured flat.
Refracted was explained. Refracted's done it with his kitchen. Anybody can do it. You can use your light bulb, can't you, John, from the center of the kitchen, get the GP of the light bulb, the distance from that GP of the light bulb on the flat tile floor, and the distance to where you're taking the angle measurement from, yeah? And then you just do some division, mathematics and trickery, and turn it into a sphere. That's exactly what Eratosthenes did. Anybody can try it at home.
Well, he's also got a follow-up question, because it's me saying it and reading it. I'm also going to put this to someone else, so Jag1 also says, but then what do we use as a map? Aren't all world maps globe projections? Forgive me, this is all very new to me and it's hard for me to understand. Well, hopefully over the last 10 minutes, go ahead, John. We've been summarizing this for the last 10 minutes, but go ahead.
All global projections, right, are from a globe, but the globe is a projection from a plane, the equatorial plane. So you're using a projection of a projection as proof. You have to go to the source, and the source is the equatorial plane. That's the flat plane you stand on when you take that measurement.
That's what we were just talking about when we said angles in hell. So to make the globe function, you can project out the angle measurements from the equatorial plane through a sphere that you create with a radial value at 3959, the minimum elevation to Polaris. And then you've got projected points that match the equatorial, the celestial sphere, i.e. you've got you in the middle, and then like a pizza slice angle through it, PZX triangle, and then the view of the stars you actually have through that. That's how they create the globe, in terms of the mapping projections, at least. John.
But yeah, that
hold on, just one sec. Did someone have something to say from Discord? Someone's off mute. Someone have something to add?
Are you fucking joking?
Guys in Discord, can you just check if you're off mute when you shouldn't be? I don't want to have to close the Discord line just because someone's off mute.
Yeah. I think it's a troll, yeah. I'm just trying to find him because he's very quick.
Coming in to cause audio chaos. Right.
Yes.
Sorry, John. Your last point was slightly marred by somebody who's decided to just come off mute in Discord.
Well, the thing is, the back 5 years ago, I pointed that out to people that the model you're claiming, or if they were the old flat Earth videos, I was like, but that's just a global projection. You know, you're taking the globe and you're projecting that out to the flat plane. So you'll never be able to validate your flat plane. You built it on the idea of the globe. And that is a valid point to people that want to make that argument. You know, you're using a globe to make that model, is basically what they said to them. It's a really good point, and it stands. That means when they use measurements of a flat Earth to project onto their sphere, it's just as valid for us to state that.
Yeah, or conversely, if they claim the globe as some win, it's like, well, okay, well, I'll claim that as a flat Earth win because the globes come from those flat Earth measurements. So any win for the globe is just a win for the origin genesis measurements of a flat Earth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
I've never been in a debate that actually reached an end before. Usually just people disagree and then talk badly about it.
It's not really a debate, is it? I mean, when you think about it, it's you know, we're not having a discussion and putting points forward and then having a vote at the end of it of what we should do. You know, on our side, we've got the evidence and to put forth that that's how it's measured. This is how it's dealt with. Elevation angles to and from Polaris to get latitude, longitude. You know, navigation. Everything we're talking about is evidence of the Earth being measured and navigated flat. It's not a debate.
Yeah, that's why I always say that. Well, what's the valid point of contention? That's what you first need to have a real debate. And the only valid point of contention was, is there a measurement of Earth curve? And if there is, you know, there was a debate to be had.
Well, every time I try and get this evidence of Earth curve, I'm faced with Eratosthenes measuring angles, and the same with Al-Biruni, measuring angles.
You ever heard, John? Remember they used to say that Earth curve was negligible? Yeah, the latest one is if your curvature is insignificant.
Right.
Yep.
You got to be able to measure it, though.
Not if it's not significant.
They claim they can measure. They have an Earth curve calculator. They claim they can measure curvature. They do claim that.
Yeah, until it's time for them to actually defend it, then they're like, nah.
Well, there's no measurement. The Earth level is never curving, ever. The horizon that's labeled in that diagram, called the Earth curve calculator, is just a differential calculator. All right, when you're talking about what's disappearing from the bottom up, it's the differential between the plane that the object is on, the plane that you're on, and that differential loss is what you're talking about. It's at no point is that a curve.
So you just mentioned two planes. So the math is not plane plus plane equals sphere. My math is wrong there?
Yeah, quite wrong.
Oh, man. Let me try again.
You don't understand.
He's
If
right.
you understand, level and horizontal, the denotative definition of that is equal level. See, I'm saying level again. It's like redundant. You can't explain unless you use the redundant word to explain it. It's like from one end to the other, all the way through it. It's level. Level, horizontal, straight line, angle. Two lines coming together, the vertex. Straight lines, not curvy lines. Then it wouldn't be an angle. It'd be a circle. I don't get it. It's not that, man, a lot of these guys in their 20s too, so they only been out of school for like maybe 10 years. I mean, me, I've been out of school for like 40 years. Nathan, 30-something.
Rose, it's like, I've said it a few times, I'm just going to say it again for everyone. These are the words that I'm telling them they can't use, and it's called 22 words. 22 words not allowed to be used when explaining how Earth curve is measured. Sea level, horizon, horizontal, parallel, plumb, perpendicular, elevation, angles, triangles, sea sextant, theodolite, spirit level, altitude, vertical, tangent, straight line, plane, and flat. 22 words, and that's that. You can't use these unless you're explaining flat.
Thank you.
Put above and below on that list yet?
Yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow, mate.
Perfect. Right, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit me up on PayPal, and smash the super chat and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Another massive thank you to today's 24/7 Politics Discord server and my G+ panel for making today's live show possible. I'll see you all in the next video.